The cantina on Station Cathara 9 was dark and smelled of chemical drinks and old metal. In the corner booth, 5 young military recruits laughed loudly. They wore fresh uniforms with no marks of battle. Their scales and fur were bright with youth. "Did you hear?" one of them said, his tail swishing with excitement. "The humans got accepted into the coalition last month. Those soft little things from that backwards planet." Another recruit, a female with purple skin, laughed. "I saw one yesterday, so small. Barely came up to my shoulder. And they only have 4 limbs. 4. How do they even function?" The others joined in the laughter. They ordered more drinks and talked louder. At the bar, a figure sat alone. He was tall for his species, with 6 limbs and gray-green scales. Old scars crossed his body like a map of pain. One of his 3 eyes was clouded and dead. He wore a simple vest with faded military marks on it. The bartender, Relmina, cleaned a glass and watched him. She had known Zixthor for many years. She knew what was coming. "They look weak because they have soft skin," one recruit continued. "No natural armor, no claws, no venom. I heard they come from a world with barely any dangerous animals." "Easy prey," another agreed. Zixthor's good eyes closed slowly. His drinking hand tightened around his glass. "I bet one coalition soldier could fight 10 humans," the first recruit boasted. "Maybe 20. The glass in Zixthor's hand cracked. Not broke, just cracked. He set it down carefully and stood. His legs were stiff and he moved like someone much older than he was. The recruits did not notice him approach until his shadow fell across their table. "You think humans are weak?" Zixthor said. His voice was quiet but hard. The recruits looked up. They saw his scars, his dead eye, his old uniform marks. Command level. "Combat veteran." "Sir, we meant no disrespect," one said quickly. "We were just talking." "About humans," Zixthor said. "Yes, sir. About how they finally got admitted to the coalition. They must have pleased the council somehow." Zixthor's mandibles clicked, a sound like bitter laughter. "They did not please anyone. The council was afraid to say no." The recruits looked at each other, confused. "Sir?" the purple-skinned female asked. "I fought humans," Zixthor said. 70 cycles ago during the pacification campaign." Before you respond, the table went quiet. Other beings in the cantina turned to listen. Stories from the human war were rare. Most veterans did not speak of it. "May we hear it, sir?" one recruit asked, trying to sound respectful. Zixthor looked at them for a long moment. Then he pulled a chair from another table and sat. His movements were slow and careful. "You may," he said, "but you will not like it." Relmina brought him a fresh glass without being asked. Zixthor drank deeply before beginning. 70 cycles ago, the coalition discovered a new species expanding into protected space. Humans. They had colony ships moving into 3 systems that the council had marked for future use. The council sent a message to stop. The humans ignored it. "Ignored the Galactic Coalition?" a recruit interrupted, shocked. "They did not know what the coalition was," Zixthor explained. "They were young to space travel. They had no idea we existed. They thought they were alone." He paused, remembering. The council decided to teach them their place. "They sent me. I was a fleet commander then. Young, confident, undefeated in 16 campaigns. They gave me 47 warships. The best ships, the best weapons, the best soldiers. Our mission was simple. Stop 3 human colony ships and force their surrender." 3 ships against 47, a recruit said. "That must have been easy." Zixthor's good eyes focused on the young soldier. "I thought the same thing." The recruits leaned forward. The cantina had gone completely silent. "We found them in the Epsilon system. 3 colony ships, old and slow. Primitive fusion drives. Hull plating that looked like it would break from hard radiation. We surrounded them. I sent a message in their own language, which our translation computers had learned. I told them to stop their engines and prepare to be boarded." "And they surrendered?" a recruit asked. "They sent a message back," Zixthor said softly. 3 words in their Earth language. "Come and take it." "Stupid," the purple recruit said. "They could not win." "No," Zixthor agreed. "They could not win. But humans do not think about winning the way we do." He finished his drink. Relmina brought another without waiting. "I gave the order to disable their engines. Precision shots, low power. We did not want to kill them, just stop them. My weapons officers were the best in the fleet." "The shots were perfect. Then what happened?" a recruit asked. Zixthor was quiet for a moment. His good eyes looked at something far away, something only he could see. The human ships turned toward us, he said. Not away, toward. Their engines went to full power. They were charging at us. A bluff, a recruit suggested. To scare you. I thought so too, Zixthor said. I ordered warning shots. The humans did not slow down. I moved my flagship to the side. I did not want to destroy them. The council wanted prisoners, not corpses. His scarred hands gripped the table edge. The first human colony ship passed my flagship. I thought they would fly past and try to escape. But at the last moment they turned. Hard turn. Right into the flagship, the recruits gasped. They crashed into you? One asked. Not into my ship, Zixthor said. Into the ship next to mine. The carrier Drathkal with 12,000 soldiers aboard. The human ship hit it at full speed. That is suicide, a recruit whispered. Yes, Zixthor agreed. The human ship was destroyed instantly, but at that speed with that mass it cracked the Drathkal in half. The reactor went critical. Both ships exploded. 12,000 of my soldiers died, and 3,000 humans died. Why would they do that? The purple recruit asked. They killed their own people. That is what I asked, Zixthor said. I did not understand. No species we had ever fought would sacrifice themselves like that. It made no sense. He looked at each recruit in turn. But there were still 2 human ships left. I ordered all weapons to destroy them immediately. No more mercy. But before we could fire, something else happened. What? A recruit breathed. Escape pods, Zixthor said. Hundreds of escape pods launched from the destroyed ships. From the debris field where both ships had exploded. We thought they were survivors trying to escape. We held fire. Coalition law protects survivors in escape pods. His voice dropped lower. They were not trying to escape. The pods came straight at us. At my ships. And when they got close, humans in spacesuits came out. With weapons. With cutting tools. With explosives. They attached to our hulls and started cutting their way inside. In space? A recruit asked, horrified. Without ships? They boarded us in the middle of battle, Zixthor said. In hard vacuum. In radiation fields. While we were shooting at their other ships. They cut through our hulls and fought their way into our ships. That is impossible, the purple recruit said. No one can fight in those conditions. Zixthor looked at her with his one good eye. I lost 6 more ships in the next hour, he said quietly. The humans inside those ships killed the crews and set the reactors to overload. 6 ships, 8,000 more soldiers dead. The cantina was silent except for the hum of air recyclers. I gave the order to retreat, Zixthor said. For the first time in my career. For the first time in coalition history in 200 years. We ran from an inferior force. We jumped to faster than light speed and left the system. But you went back, a recruit said. You defeated them eventually. Zixthor stood slowly. His old wounds made him move carefully. That was the first day, he said. The first day of a war that lasted 3 years. The first day I learned what humans really are. He looked at the recruits with something like pity. And I will tell you the rest, so you understand what you do not understand. So you know what it means that humans are now our allies. He walked back to the bar, leaving the recruits staring at each other in silence. The recruits returned the next night. They said nothing to each other about it, but each of them came back to the cantina at the same time. Zixthor was already there in his usual spot at the bar. He seemed to be waiting for them. When they sat down, Relmina brought drinks without asking. Zixthor turned his chair to face them. You came back, he said. We want to hear more, sir, the purple recruit said. Her voice was quieter than before. If you will tell us. Zixthor nodded slowly. After the retreat, I reported to the Coalition High Command. I told them what happened. I told them that humans were more dangerous than we thought. That they fought in ways we did not understand. What did Command say? A recruit asked. They said I was making excuses for my failure, Zixthor said with a bitter sound. They said 3 colony ships should not have defeated 47 warships. They said I would get another chance to prove myself. He drank from his glass. They gave me more ships, 80 this time. New crews, fresh weapons, more soldiers. And they gave me new orders. Find the human homeworld and force their complete surrender. Show them the price of defying the coalition. 80 ships, a recruit said. That must have been enough. We thought so, Zixthor agreed. We spent 2 months tracking their ships back to their home system. When we arrived, we found their world. Earth, a blue and green planet, third from its star. Beautiful from space, he paused, and his expression changed. It was hard to read, but it looked like remembered pain. We sent scouts to scan the planet. They came back with strange readings. The gravity was higher than our standard. The atmosphere had more oxygen. The weather was violent with massive storms. The oceans covered most of the planet and were full of salt that corroded our equipment. A harsh world, a recruit observed. We did not know how harsh, Zixthor said. Not yet. We sent a landing force to one of their cities. 5,000 soldiers, the best we had. We had drop ships and heavy armor. We were ready for resistance. And the humans fought back? The humans were waiting, Zixthor said. They knew we were coming. They had defenses ready. But it was not the defenses that hurt us. It was the planet itself. He leaned forward. My soldiers landed and immediately started having problems. The gravity made them tired faster. The air made some of them dizzy. The local bacteria infected wounds almost instantly, and the humans moved through all of it like nothing was wrong. They were adapted to their world, a recruit said. More than adapted, Zixthor corrected. They were made by their world. Built by it. The city we attacked was in a jungle, a hot, wet jungle full of plants and animals. My soldiers had to wear full environmental suits. The humans wore light clothing. Some wore no shirts at all. They are more resistant than we thought, the purple recruit said. Resistant, Zixthor repeated. Yes. My medics studied the bodies of dead humans after the first fights. What they found terrified them. The recruits waited, silent. Humans have redundant systems, Zixthor explained. 2 lungs, but they can survive with 1. 2 kidneys, but they only need 1. Their blood clots quickly to stop bleeding. They have an emergency chemical response called adrenaline that makes them stronger and faster when they are hurt or afraid. That does not sound so strange, a recruit said. When we shoot a soldier from most species, they stop fighting immediately, Zixthor said. The pain and shock disable them. But humans have something in their brain that can ignore pain. Not forever, but long enough. Long enough to keep fighting. Long enough to kill before they die. He touched one of his scars. I saw a human soldier get shot 3 times. 3 direct hits with plasma fire. Burns through the chest and abdomen. He should have died instantly. Instead, he ran forward, threw an explosive device into our transport, and then collapsed. He lived. The transport and everyone in it did not. The recruits shifted uncomfortably. We kept pushing into the city. We had superior weapons and numbers. We should have won easily. But the humans used their world against us. They fought at night when we could barely see. They moved through the jungle faster than our troops. They attacked and disappeared. They set traps everywhere. Urban warfare is always difficult, a recruit said, trying to sound knowledgeable. Zixthor's good eyes fixed on him. You know nothing of difficult. The recruit looked down. We captured one of their medical buildings, Zixthor continued. A hospital, they called it. We thought we would find weak humans, sick and injured. Easy prisoners. We found something else. What? The purple recruit asked quietly. The wounded humans were still fighting, Zixthor said. Humans with broken bones. Humans with missing limbs. Humans hooked to medical machines. They had weapons next to their beds. When we entered, they started shooting. That is against war conventions, a recruit protested. Wounded prisoners should not fight. Humans do not stop being soldiers because they are hurt, Zixthor said. We found one human in that hospital, a female who was missing her lower left leg. She was using a crutch. She directed the defense from a window, calling orders on a communication device. She had a rifle and was shooting at my soldiers. We shot her twice. She kept calling orders until we destroyed her radio. She still lived when we captured her. Impossible, a recruit breathed. I said the same thing, Zixthor told him, but I saw it. My officers saw it. We reported it to command. They did not believe us. He drank again, deeply. We held the hospital for 3 days. We brought in our own wounded. Our doctors tried to help our soldiers and study the human prisoners. That is when we learned more about human biology. What did you learn? The purple recruit asked. Humans evolved on what we call a death world, Zixthor said. A planet where almost everything is trying to kill you. Predators, diseases, weather, even the plants. Most species in the coalition evolved on safe worlds. Worlds where life is balanced. But Earth is not balanced. Earth creates survivors. He gestured with one hand. Human bones are dense and strong. They can heal from breaks. Human immune systems fight off diseases we have never seen. Human muscles are packed with oxygen-carrying cells. They can run for hours without stopping. They can survive in heat that would kill most of us. They can survive in cold that would freeze our blood. They sound like soldier beasts, a recruit said, not thinking beings. That is the worst part, Zixthor said quietly. They are thinking beings. Smart ones. They have art and music and stories. They laugh and love and make families. But when they fight, they become something else. Something ancient. Something that their world built over millions of years. What happened to the hospital? The purple recruit asked. Zixthor's expression darkened. On the fourth day, the humans counterattacked. Not just soldiers. Civilians, too. Old ones and young ones. Males and females. They came at night through tunnels under the city. Thousands of them. They had simple weapons, chemical projectile guns, but they knew every street and building. And your soldiers? We lost the hospital in 2 hours, Zixthor said. We lost 2,000 soldiers that night. The humans took back their wounded, including the female with one leg. I watched her on our security screens before we evacuated. She was being carried by another human, a medic. The medic was shot 4 times while carrying her. He kept moving until she was safe. Then he fell. Did he die? A recruit asked. No, Zixthor said. I saw him 3 weeks later in another battle. Still fighting. The cantina was quiet. The recruits looked at each other. How long did you fight on Earth? One asked. We fought on Earth for 6 months, Zixthor said. We lost 30,000 soldiers in that time. The humans lost more, maybe twice as many. But they did not care about the numbers. Every human we killed, 2 more would take their place. Every city we bombed, they would rebuild. Every time we thought we were winning, they would hit us somewhere else. He stood up slowly. I learned something in those 6 months. He said, something important. Humans do not fight to win battles. They fight to not lose, and there is a big difference between those 2 things. The recruit stood as well, showing respect. There is more to tell, Zixthor said. Much more. About what happened when the coalition decided to end the war the permanent way. About what happened when we tried to kill them all. He walked toward the door, then stopped and looked back. Come back tomorrow, he said. If you want to understand what it means to fight humans, if you want to understand what it means that they are now on our side. The old veteran left the cantina. The recruits sat back down. None of them spoke for a long time. The third night, all 5 recruits arrived early. They sat at the same table and waited. Other beings in the cantina watched them, knowing something important was being shared. War stories from the human campaign were precious and terrible things. Zixthor arrived exactly on time. He moved to the table without stopping at the bar. Relmina brought drinks for everyone. The old veteran sat down with a heavy sound. You look troubled, he said to the recruits. We looked up the war records, sir, the purple recruit said. The official ones. They say the coalition won every major battle on Earth. They say we were winning. The records are not wrong, Zixthor said. We did win the battles, but we were not winning the war. He took a long drink before continuing. After 6 months of fighting, I reported to High Command again. I told them the truth. The humans would never surrender through ground combat. Every city we took, they would fight to retake. Every soldier we killed, they would replace. Their world had 8 billion humans. We could not kill them all? What did Command say? A recruit asked. They said I was weak, Zixthor replied. They said I had lost my will to fight. They asked if humans had broken my spirit. I told them no. I told them humans had taught me what real war looked like. They did not like that answer. He looked at his scarred hands. Command sent new orders. They said if ground combat would not work, we would use orbital bombardment. We would destroy their cities from space, show them they could not win, force them to surrender. The recruits went very still. Orbital bombardment is against coalition law, one said quietly. Against civilian targets. It is, Zixthor agreed. But Command said humans were not yet coalition members. The laws did not protect them, and if we did not end the war soon, it would cost too many coalition lives. Did you follow the orders? The purple recruit asked. Zixthor was quiet for a long moment. His good eyes looked at something far away. I refused, he said finally. I told Command I would not fire on civilian cities. I said it was wrong. I said it would not work anyway. Humans would not break from bombing. It would only make them angrier. What happened to you? A recruit asked. They arrested me, Zixthor said simply. charged me with refusing orders and cowardice in the face of the enemy. They put me in the ship's detention cell. They gave my command to another officer, Commander Trelvik. He was younger than me, ambitious. He wanted glory. Did he follow the orders? He did, Zixthor said. I was in detention when it happened. I heard the bombardment through the ship's hull. 60 kinetic strikes, 40 plasma bombardments. 3 cities targeted. 12 million humans lived in those cities. The recruits looked sick. I thought it was over, Zixthor continued. I thought the humans would surrender. I thought they would beg for peace. I was wrong again. They did not surrender? A recruit asked. They went silent, Zixthor said. For 3 days we received no communications from Earth. No military signals, no civilian broadcasts, nothing. Command thought they had won. They thought the humans were finished. He paused and his expression became darker. On the 4th day, alarms started going off across Coalition space, distress signals from stations and colonies. Hundreds of them. All over the galaxy. What was happening? The purple recruit asked, though her voice suggested she already knew the answer would be bad. Humans, Zixthor said. Human ships that had been hidden for years. Small ships, fast ships, ships we did not know existed. They hit Coalition targets everywhere at once. Supply depots, fuel stations, communication relays, mining colonies. Not military targets, support targets. They were cutting our supply lines. But how? A recruit asked. Where did these ships come from? Humans are patient, Zixthor explained. When they first came to space, they sent out hundreds of small colony ships. Not just to the systems we knew about, everywhere. They were spreading out, making backup plans. When we attacked them, those hidden colonies activated. They became military bases. That is impossible to coordinate, a recruit protested. How could they plan that far ahead? Humans think long-term, Zixthor said. They have a saying, hope for the best, plan for the worst. They hoped to find empty space. But they planned for war. Always for war. Because on their world, if you do not plan for war, you die. He shifted in his chair, old pain showing in his movements. From my detention cell, I could access the ship's information systems. I started reading about Earth, about human history. What I found explained everything. What did you find? The purple recruit asked. Humans have been killing each other for their entire history, Zixthor said. 50,000 years of recorded warfare. Thousands of wars. Millions of battles. They fought with stones, then metals, then chemicals, then nuclear weapons. They nearly destroyed themselves with nuclear fire 200 years before we met them. The recruits stared. They fought wars that killed millions of their own people, Zixthor continued. Wars over land, over resources, over ideas, over invisible lines on maps. They created weapons that could end all life on their planet. And they used them. Not everywhere, but enough to know what they could do. They are monsters, a recruit whispered. No, Zixthor said sharply. That is the wrong lesson. They are survivors. Every war taught them something. Every weapon made them stronger. Every disaster made them more prepared. They did not just survive their wars. They learned from them. He leaned forward, his voice intense. Do you know what humans did after they almost destroyed themselves with nuclear weapons? They made rules against using them. They made treaties. They worked together to stop it from happening again. And it worked. They still have the weapons, thousands of them, but they have not used them in war since then. Then why are they so good at fighting? A recruit asked. Because they understand war better than any species in the galaxy, Zixthor said. They know it is terrible. They know it destroys everything. But they also know how to do it. They have studied every way to hurt and kill, not because they want to, but because they might need to, because their world taught them that the ones who are not prepared are the ones who die. Relmina brought more drinks. The recruits did not touch theirs. What happened after the bombardment? The purple recruit asked quietly. I learned more while I was in detention, Zixthor said. I read human books that our intelligence had translated. Books about their military history. I learned about a human concept called asymmetric warfare. It means fighting in ways your enemy does not expect, using your strengths against their weaknesses. And humans are good at this? A recruit asked. Humans invented it, Zixthor said. In their history, small groups of humans defeated large armies by using terrain, by attacking supply lines, by making the enemy afraid. By never giving up, he touched his dead eye. I got this wound during a human raid, he said. They attacked the ship I was on. Not to destroy it, but to rescue their captured soldiers. 10 humans in spacesuits using magnetic grapples and cutting tools. They cut through the hull, fought through 3 security doors, reached the detention level, freed their people, and escaped. They did it in 40 minutes. That is impossible, a recruit said. I watched them do it, Zixthor replied. I was in a cell next to their soldiers. They cut through my cell door too. They offered to take me with them. You went with humans? The purple recruit asked, shocked. Not then, Zixthor said. I refused. I was still coalition military. But I remembered their offer. I remembered that they would have taken an enemy commander with them. That they would have risked their mission to save someone who had tried to kill them. He finished his drink. That was when I started to understand humans. They are not monsters. They are not demons. They are just beings who learn to survive on a world that tried to kill them every day. They learned to work together because alone they would die. They learned to fight hard because fighting soft meant death. They learned to never surrender because surrender meant extinction. What happened next? A recruit asked. Zixthor stood up slowly. What happened next is the hardest part to tell, he said. The part where the coalition decided that if humans would not surrender, we would destroy them completely. The part where we tried to commit genocide. The word hung in the air like a poison cloud. And the part where humans showed us what they really are, Zixthor added. Come back tomorrow. I will tell you the rest. But I warn you, the end of this story will change how you see everything. It changed me. He walked out of the cantina. The recruits sat in silence for a long time. When they finally left, they walked slowly like they were carrying something heavy. The 4th night felt different. The cantina was more crowded than usual. Word had spread that a veteran from the human war was telling his story. Beings from different species sat quietly at tables listening. Even Relmina stopped working to pay attention. Zixthor arrived and looked around at the crowd. He seemed tired, older than before, but he sat down at the recruits' table without comment. There are many beings here tonight, the purple recruit said nervously. They should hear this, Zixthor said. All coalition citizens should know what happened, what we almost did. He waited until the cantina was completely silent before beginning. I was in detention when High Command made their final decision about humans. I heard it from the guards outside my cell. They were excited, talking about it like it was good news. The Coalition Council had voted. They had authorized complete extinction protocols for Earth. Several beings in the cantina made shocked sounds. Extinction protocols mean killing all of them, a recruit said quietly. Every human. 8 billion beings, Zixthor confirmed. The council said humans were too dangerous to exist, that they would always be a threat, that the galaxy would be safer without them. They ordered the fleet to destroy every city, every settlement, every base. To make Earth unlivable, that is genocide, the purple recruit whispered. It is, Zixthor agreed. The worst crime. But the council was afraid. They saw how humans fought. They saw how humans would not stop. They decided fear was enough reason to destroy an entire species. He looked around at the crowd. Commander Tralvek followed the orders. He positioned the fleet in orbit and prepared for bombardment. I heard the countdown from my cell. 60 seconds until the first strike. Then 40. Then 20. The cantina was absolutely silent. Even the air recyclers seemed quiet. At 10 seconds, alarms started, Zixthor said. Not bombardment alarms. Incoming attack alarms. Human ships had appeared in the system. Not colony ships this time, warships, real military vessels. Where did they come from? A recruit asked. From every hidden colony they had, Zixthor said. From every secret base. They had built warships in secret for 2 years. While we were fighting on their planet, they were building a fleet. Not a big fleet, only 40 ships. But they were designed for one purpose, to hurt us as much as possible before they died. 40 ships against 200 coalition vessels, a recruit said. They had no chance. They did not need to win, Zixthor replied. They just needed to stop the bombardment long enough. The human ships came in fast, weapons firing. They targeted our command ships, our carriers, our bombardment vessels. They used suicide attacks, ramming attacks, anything that would work. He paused, remembering. But that was not the real attack. While the fleet fought the human ships, something else happened across coalition space. Simultaneous attacks on every major coalition world. Hundreds of targets hit at the same moment. Not by ships, by humans who were already there. The crowd stirred, confused. Humans had been in coalition space for years, Zixthor explained. On our stations, our planets, our ships. Working as traders, laborers, technicians. We did not pay attention to them. They looked harmless. But they were soldiers. Sleeper agents, humans call them, waiting for orders. That is impossible to coordinate, a recruit protested. The distances are too far. Humans had faster communication than we knew, Zixthor said. They used quantum-entangled devices, technology we thought they did not have. When they gave the signal, every agent activated at once. They sabotaged power plants, destroyed fuel depots, crashed communication networks. They did not kill civilians. They just broke things. Expensive, important things. The economic damage must have been massive, someone in the crowd said. Trillions of credits in damage, Zixthor confirmed. But more important than the money was the message. Humans were telling us, you cannot destroy us without us destroying you. If you try to kill us all, we will make you pay a price you cannot afford. The purple recruit looked shaken. That is terrorism. That is war, Zixthor corrected. Total war. The kind humans have fought among themselves for thousands of years. They know how to do it. They know how to make an enemy choose between winning and surviving. He shifted in his seat. I was released from detention during the chaos. They needed every officer for damage control. I was put back in command and sent to negotiate with the humans. Not because they trusted me, because I was the only one who had said fighting them was a mistake. You met with human leaders? A recruit asked. I met with a human commander named Martinez, Zixthor said. She was young for a human, maybe 30 of their years. She had scars all over her arms and face. She came to the negotiation with 5 soldiers, all of them injured. One was missing an eye. Another walked with a machine leg. But they stood straight and proud. What did she say? The purple recruit asked. She put a data file on the table, Zixthor said. She told me it contained complete plans for attacks on every coalition council world. Detailed plans, times, targets, methods. She said if we destroyed Earth, her people would execute those plans. Not right away, but eventually, months or years later, when we thought we were safe. She was bluffing, a recruit said. I read the plans, Zixthor said quietly. They were not bluffing. The plans were detailed and realistic. Humans had been preparing for decades. They had agents on every council world. They had hidden weapons and supplies. They could do exactly what they said. He looked at his scarred hands, but then she said something I did not expect. She said she did not want to use those plans. She said humans did not want to fight anymore. They wanted peace, real peace, but they would only accept peace as equals, not as conquered beings. Equals? A recruit asked. After they lost the war? They did not think they lost, Zixthor said. They thought they had fought to a draw. And in a way, they were right. Yes, we had bombed their cities. Yes, we had killed millions of their people. But they had survived. Their species continued. Their world still turned. And they had hurt us badly enough that we would never try again. He gestured to the crowd. Martinez explained human philosophy to me. She said humans believe something they call mutually assured destruction. It means if you try to kill all of us, we will hurt you so badly that your victory will feel like defeat. It is why humans stopped using nuclear weapons on each other, because both sides knew that winning would cost too much. So you agreed to peace? The purple recruit asked. I brought the offer to High Command, Zixthor said. I told them humans would accept peace with 3 conditions. 1. Recognition as an independent species with full rights. 2. Agreed borders that both sides would respect. 3. Exchange of technology and culture as equals. What did Command say? A recruit asked. They argued for days, Zixthor said. Some wanted to refuse and continue the war. But the costs were too high. We had lost 50,000 soldiers. We had spent trillions of credits, and humans showed no sign of stopping. Finally, they agreed. He was quiet for a moment. But before the final treaty, something happened. Human agents freed their captured soldiers from coalition prisons, including the soldiers who had been held on my ship. They offered to free me too, again. Did you go with them? The purple recruit asked. I did, Zixthor said, not to escape, but because I wanted to understand. I went to one of their hidden bases. I met with their military leaders. I saw how they lived. What did you see? Someone in the crowd asked. I saw humans who had lost limbs learning to fight with machines attached to their bodies. I saw humans who had been burned in battle teaching others how to survive. I saw humans making art from pieces of destroyed ships, making music with broken instruments, laughing and singing even though they had lost so much. His voice became softer, and I saw humans taking care of their wounded enemies, coalition soldiers who had been captured. They were giving them medical treatment, good treatment, the same treatment they gave their own soldiers. They said it was required by their laws of war, that even enemies deserve dignity. The cantina was completely still. That is when I understood, Zixthor said. Humans are not monsters. They fight like demons, yes. They never surrender, yes. They will hurt you as badly as they can, yes. But they also have honor. They have compassion. They follow rules even when it would be easier not to. They are capable of great violence and great kindness, and they choose which one to show you based on how you treat them. He stood up slowly. I helped negotiate the final treaty. I convinced the council to accept human terms. Not because I thought we would lose if we kept fighting, but because I learned that peace with humans as allies would be better than war with them as enemies. And the treaty was accepted? A recruit asked. It was, Zixthor said. 3 years after the war started, it ended. Both sides stopped fighting. We exchanged prisoners. We agreed to borders. And humans became what they are now, coalition members. Our allies. He looked around at all the beings in the cantina. That is almost the end of my story. Tomorrow I will tell you what happened after the war, what it means to have humans as allies, what they have taught us, and what we should never forget. Zixthor walked out. This time no one spoke after he left. They just sat and thought about what they had heard. On the 5th night, the cantina was packed. Beings stood against the walls because there were no more seats. Security officers had arrived to manage the crowd. Everyone wanted to hear the end of the story. Zixthor looked at the crowd with his one good eye. He seemed surprised by how many had come. I did not expect this many, he said to Relmina. Your story matters, she replied simply. People need to know. He sat down at the recruits' table. The 5 young soldiers looked different than they had 5 days ago. More serious, more thoughtful. The purple recruit had dark marks under her eyes like she had not been sleeping well. This is the last night, Zixthor began. The last part of my story. Some of you might be disappointed. There is no big battle in this part. No dramatic ending, just truth. The crowd waited silently. The war ended 70 cycles ago, Zixthor said. The treaty was signed on Earth in a city called Geneva. I was there. I stood with coalition representatives and human leaders. We put our marks on a document that said we would not fight anymore. How did it feel? The purple recruit asked. Strange, Zixthor admitted. I had spent 3 years trying to defeat humans. I had lost many soldiers. I had seen terrible things. And then suddenly we were shaking hands and promising peace. It felt wrong, but also right. He paused, gathering his thoughts. After the signing, I stayed on Earth for 6 months. The council wanted someone to observe humans and report if they were keeping the treaty. They chose me because I knew humans better than any other coalition officer. Were they keeping the treaty? A recruit asked. They were, Zixthor said. More than that, they were helping. Human engineers came to rebuild coalition stations that had been damaged in the war. Human doctors shared their medical knowledge. Human farmers taught us how to grow food in difficult conditions. They gave freely, asking for nothing in return except that we teach them our knowledge too. Why? The purple recruit asked. After we tried to destroy them, why would they help us? I asked a human that same question, Zixthor said. A young human named Chen, who was helping rebuild a communication station. He said something I will never forget. He said, the war is over. We can spend our time hating each other or helping each other. Hating is easy but accomplishes nothing. Helping is hard but makes both of us stronger. Several beings in the crowd made thoughtful sounds. I learned many things about humans in those 6 months. Zixthor continued. I learned they have over 8,000 different languages on their world. 8,000 ways of speaking from one species. And they argue constantly with each other. About politics, about religion, about how to live. They disagree on almost everything. That sounds chaotic, a recruit said. It is, Zixthor agreed. But it is also their strength. Because even though they disagree, they found ways to work together. They made systems for solving disagreements without fighting. Not perfect systems. They still fail sometimes, but they keep trying. That is the important part. They keep trying. He shifted in his seat. I also learned about human memory. They do not forget their wars. They have monuments to their dead in every city, museums dedicated to showing the horrors of war. They teach their children about past wars so they will not repeat the same mistakes. They remember the pain so they will work harder for peace. Do they remember the war with us? The purple recruit asked quietly. Yes, Zixthor said. They have a monument on Earth now. A tall structure made of both coalition and human metals melted together. It lists the names of all beings who died in the war. Human names and coalition names together. 6 million names. They read them aloud one day every year. It takes 3 days to read them all. The cantina was very quiet. The coalition has no such monument, someone in the crowd said. No, Zixthor agreed. We do not. We try to forget. Humans try to remember. I think their way is better. He drank from his glass. After 6 months, I returned to the coalition. I was given a choice, return to military service or retire. I chose to retire. I could not fight anymore. I had seen too much. But I also could not stay away from space. So I travel, I observe, and sometimes I tell my story. Why tell it? A recruit asked. Why not just forget like the rest of us? Because you need to know, Zixthor said firmly. All of you. Humans are coalition members now. They serve on our ships. They work on our stations. They fight beside us, and you need to understand what that means. He looked at each recruit in turn. In the 70 cycles since the war ended, humans have been involved in 16 coalition military operations. Peacekeeping missions, rescue operations, anti-piracy actions. Do you know how many times humans have refused a dangerous assignment? How many? The purple recruit asked. 0, Zixthor said. When we need volunteers for dangerous missions, humans always volunteer first. Always. They go into damaged reactors to save crews. They board hostile ships to rescue prisoners. They hold defensive positions so others can evacuate. They do not ask if it is safe. They just go. They are fearless, a recruit said. No, Zixthor corrected. They are afraid. I have talked to human soldiers. They feel fear like anyone else, but they do what needs to be done anyway. That is not fearlessness. That is courage. And there is a big difference, he leaned forward. 12 cycles ago, there was a disaster on Station Kelvin 7, a reactor breach. The station was evacuating, but someone needed to stay and manually shut down the reactor or it would explode and kill everyone. 3 humans volunteered. They went into radiation that would kill them in hours. They saved 40,000 beings. Did they survive? Someone in the crowd asked. 2 did, Zixthor said. Barely. They were in medical treatment for a year. The 3rd died, but not before completing the shutdown. His name was Lieutenant James Park. The coalition gave him the highest honor for sacrifice. His family received it on his behalf. The crowd was silent, respectful. That is what humans do, Zixthor said. They volunteer for the missions no one else wants. They take the risks others cannot accept, and they do it without asking for special treatment or extra payment. They do it because they think it is right. Are you saying humans are better than us? A recruit asked, sounding defensive. No, Zixthor said. I am saying humans are different. They evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day. It made them tough. It made them persistent. It made them value survival above comfort. Those traits make them good at dangerous work. But they also have weaknesses. They die young. They get sick easily on some worlds. They need specific air to breathe. They are not better. Just different. He stood up slowly, his old wounds making him stiff. But here is what you must remember, he said to the crowd. Humans are your allies now. If you fight beside them, they will die for you. They will never abandon you. They will never surrender while you still need them. But if you ever betray them, if you ever make them your enemy again, remember what I told you. His voice grew harder. Remember that humans spent millions of years learning to survive the unsurvivable. Remember that they fought wars that would have destroyed any other species. Remember that they built weapons that could end all life on their world, and then chose not to use them. Remember that when we tried to destroy them, they survived. They hurt us badly enough that we chose peace over victory. He looked around at every face in the cantina. Humans are generous in peace and terrible in war. They forgive easily and remember forever. They will help you without asking for payment and fight for you without asking for thanks. But they will never, ever stop. Not when they are hurt. Not when they are losing. Not when death is certain. They simply do not have the instinct to give up. The purple recruit stood up, followed by the other 4 recruits. They stood at attention, showing respect. Thank you, sir, she said quietly, for teaching us. You are welcome, Zixthor said. But do not just thank me. Learn from what I told you. Treat humans with respect. Work with them as equals. And never ever make the mistake we made 70 cycles ago. What mistake was that? A young voice asked from the crowd. Underestimating them, Zixthor said simply. The cantina door opened. A human walked in, wearing a coalition military uniform, young, maybe 25 Earth years. She had short dark hair and friendly brown eyes. She looked around the packed cantina with confusion. Am I interrupting something? She asked. The crowd parted. She walked to Zixthor's table. Commander Zixthor, she said with a smile. I heard you were here. I wanted to say hello. Lieutenant Reeves, Zixthor said warmly. He embraced her carefully because she was so much smaller. How is the patrol? Quiet, thankfully, she said. We're shipping out tomorrow for the border. Anti-piracy sweep. Dangerous work, Zixthor observed. Someone has to do it, she said with a shrug. Then she noticed the crowd staring at her. Did I interrupt a meeting? I was telling these young ones about the war, Zixthor said. Lieutenant Reeves looked at the recruits. She smiled, but there was something sad in her eyes. The war between our people, she said. I learned about it in school. Terrible time. A lot of good people died on both sides. She looked at Zixthor, but it ended. And now we're friends. That's what matters, right? That is what matters, Zixthor agreed. Lieutenant Reeves ordered a drink from Relmina. She sat down at the table like it was the most natural thing in the world. She told a joke about her commanding officer.